Good day everyone, I am Clarice Palacio. Our lesson for today is about a child with orthopedic impairment, and I will discuss about its classroom interventions and some strategies to be applied in the classroom. The teacher has an important role in the professional plan to help families with children who have orthopedic impairments. So, there are several possible interventions a teacher can implement in the classroom to assist the child in being successful in the inclusive setting. The first intervention, and probably the most important one, is to develop the individualized education program or the individual family service plans of the student. The IEPs and IFSPs specify the children's learning goals, and it also outlines the services they need. And instructional objectives include both short-term and long-term goals. The next intervention is to provide assistive technology. By the way, what is assistive technology? Assistive technology refers to a device or any range of tools that allow a student to accomplish a task. It helps the students to be prepared for independent living because the goal of this assistive technology is to develop independence in children regardless of their level of impairment. So there are two basic types of assistive technology. These are the low-tech and the high-tech technology. Low technology devices are usually simple, inexpensive, and often homemade. Some of the example of this is the large paper clips. This is used by children who have small motor problems to help them turn pages of the books. The other one is the high-tech device, and this is commercially produced and often more expensive than the low-tech devices. So example of this is the power wheelchairs, which is used by children with orthopedic impairments or multiple disabilities. Another intervention is adapting physical education to fit the child's needs. Children with orthopedic impairments have unique physical needs, and their need for physical activity is just as important as it is among the typically developing peers. So, adaptive physical education instructors receive special training to plan and implement physical education instruction for children with disabilities. So, it is important to consult to the adaptive physical education instructor if they are available and utilize recommendations to them and adapt physical activities for a child with orthopedic impairments. And the most important one is developing positive self-esteem. One of the issues that children face is their self-awareness and acceptance of their disability. As children grow older, they may develop low self-esteem because of peer isolation. So, the assistance of the teacher in helping the children with orthopedic impairment have psychological and emotional needs. So, the teacher needs to work with the children's families to help the child acquire self-knowledge and self-acceptance. To develop positive self-esteem, I may recommend to teach the children to identify their own positive characteristics, express confidence in themselves, interact with others, talk about themselves positively, accept praise and criticisms from others, and also teach them how to control their own emotions. Helping children with orthopedic impairments is a bit challenging, but a concerted effort to help them will reap positive benefits. Because orthopedic impairments vary in nature, we need to learn how to apply some strategies and learn about the specific impairment a child has to be able to address and act accordingly to their needs. In working with the whole class, the first strategy to be applied is to check the classroom environment for accessibility. Scan the classroom to determine if any of the centers needed to have wider spaces so that the child or the children could enter with his or her wheelchair. Also, make sure that the design of many areas in the classroom is not difficult for the student to access. And also, rearrange the furniture in the room so that the student could easily move in his wheelchair from one area to another. Make plans for bathroom use, especially if children need to leave the classroom to take care of their needs. Arrange modified movement activities. Creative movement and games should be planned so that all children can participate and that the activities are beneficial to everyone. Play-oriented activities increase engagement and motivation to the children. Rearrange the items on the shelves. Move the items and place them at the level where the student could easily reach them so that the student will not be dependent on their peer to get that item for them. Use a movable board instead of a bulletin board. And most importantly, promote adaptive skills. Allow the child to perform a skill. Position the child appropriately before having the child attempt a dressing skill. Acquire proper adaptive feeding utensils so that it helps them increase their independence during feeding. The strategies to be used when working with individual children are familiarizing yourself with the child's IEP or IFSPs. Sit children at the same level when possible. The teacher may ask the center director to purchase a table that a wheelchair could easily fit under. Be prepared to help the child with bathroom needs. Facilitate the child's block center play. Plan appropriate gross motor skills. Search for gross motor activities that the student might be able to participate in during outdoor play. Plan activities that could do out of the student's wheelchair. Teach the child self-care skills. Talk to the child about wheelchair safety. Include the child as much as possible in movement activities. When presenting movement activities in the classroom, the teacher should encourage the student to imitate the movements of his peers, even though the student is in his wheelchair. Learn ways to build the child's self-esteem. Learn how to properly lift the student. Children with specific motor deficits may need assistance in moving from one location to another, so the teacher needs to be familiarized with proper lifting and carrying techniques. But it's a big no-no to attempt to move a child with specific motor impairments without the proper training from a physical therapist, occupational therapist, or adaptive physical educator. The strategy when working with families is to have a teacher-parent conference. This is where we are going to focus on discussing how we are able to help the student learn from wheelchair safety, independent skills, how to participate in movement activities, and other tips for building the self-esteem of the student. And also, let the parents assist the teacher in understanding the specific needs that the student at home and the procedure that the family was following to support these needs. Because there are no other person knows more about the student or the child more than his or her parents. As much as the importance of knowing the classroom interventions, it is also very important for us to give importance to the child's safety. So we should be prepared to any activities or events that the school is having. For example, when the school is having field trips or any program that the school is going to have. Children who use wheelchairs may need assistance to get in and out of the buses. And also, we also need to check ahead of time if there are ramps available. The physical environment should be evaluated to assure that the unnecessary barriers that causes the child with physical limitations to struggle to move around are removed. Handicap parking should be available. The requirements for childcare facilities are addressed by the ADA. So, it is very okay to talk to the administrators about arranging parking spaces near the school or any building. Teach children about safety drills, especially about natural disasters like fire or earthquakes. Most children with physical impairments will be able to follow emergency procedures. Teachers should ensure that children with physical limitations have someone who is responsible for assisting them when responding to the drills or actual emergencies. Children in wheelchairs may be required to exit their classrooms by following another alternate routes. So that is the end of my topic. Thank you so much for listening. God bless!